ENL stands for English as a New Language, and it's also referred to as English as a Second Language, more commonly referred to as English as a Second Language, or ESL. So ENL is both a program and it's also an approach to teaching students who are learning English as either their second language, third language, sometimes fourth or fifth language. And so as a program, schools are required to provide language support services to every student who qualifies as an English learner. And they are given an assessment on a pretty regular basis that determines their eligibility for those programs. And so schools determine, or school corporations determine, kind of the type of programming that they want to use to serve English language learners. So ESL or ENL is a program in that way, but probably more importantly, it is an approach to teaching English language learners. So many schools will have a licensed ESL teacher on staff, but really every single teacher in a school building where there are English learners present is responsible for providing instruction to English language learners. Part of why we use that approach, which is called content-based ESL, is that the content is really the perfect vehicle for learning language. So rather than teaching a student conjugations or discrete language components or long lists of vocabulary like you might have learned in perhaps your high school Spanish class, maybe not, really the content area, so math, science, language, art, whatever it is a rich and a relevant context for learning language. English language learners are not a homogeneous group. They have a variety of home languages, different countries of origin. Some were born in the United States. Some speak their home language fluently. Others cannot read or write in their home language. So really a very first step is understanding who the students are. And a part of that is connecting with your school's ESL or ENL teacher and getting the specific English language level of the students in your classroom. Then the next step is really looking at the content of the class that you're teaching, or for elementary teachers, all of the content that they teach throughout the day. And what you want to do is look at an individual lesson and think to yourself, so what is the content that every student in my class, I want them to get out of this lesson? This is really backward mapping, but specific to English language learners. So once you've determined what the key content is that you want a student to get out of the lesson, then you work backward from there. And you think about, okay, so if this is the key content that I want the student to get out of it, what are the experiences and what is the language that I need to teach in order to get my students to really master, or at the very least learn, the key content of the lesson? The benefits to students specifically of content-based instruction is that students are more likely to experience instruction that is at a just right level. So they're more likely to be in a differentiated classroom where the teacher is really attending to all the different students in the classroom, and specifically for English language learners to the English language level or proficiency of that student. As a teacher walking into a classroom and having, let's say, 25 different students that, or for a middle secondary teacher, perhaps 120 different students that we're responsible for responding to and creating instruction that will fit that student's needs and learning style. I think the benefit is that content instruction offers a vehicle through which we can kind of do two things at once. So we don't have to teach English separately and then go teach the content. We can combine those and use our instructional time in a way that is more efficient, but more importantly is more effective for students. And similarly for students, their learning time is also used in a way that honors the fact that they are learning both content and language at the same time. The arrival of an English language learner or English language learners in our classroom can really be considered a provocation for revisiting what we've done for a long time. So it's really an opportunity for us to hone our differentiation skills, to think about a lesson in a little bit of a different way, to try to come up with different entry points for different types of students to access the content. So I think it's really about taking a skill that experienced teachers have and just tweaking it and making it a little bit better, a little bit sharper. A successful classroom that is really attending to the needs of English language learners and really to all students is a classroom where the students are doing a lot of the work. I have a colleague who often says the person in the classroom who is doing the most work is doing the most learning. And I think that's especially true for English language learners. So if the teacher is up front talking the entire time during a class period, then it's very unlikely that the English language learner is having opportunities to encounter learn language, to use language, to manipulate language in ways that will really push their English language development.